incident management. The first view that we come to is all open parent incidents. The purpose of this view is so that you can see all existing parent incidents within SCSM. For example, you have an issue and you believe this to be part of a larger problem. So you would come to this view to see if anyone has already escalated an incident to a parent incident that relates to your particular issue. Our next view is all open unassigned incidents. This view will show you all incidents where the assigned to field has not been populated with a name. For example, I just created an incident record. I neglected to populate the assigned to and/or primary owner field with my name, and the assigned to support group I do not have access to. This view will allow me to find my incident and make the necessary changes so that the incident will flow through the system as designed. Our next view is incident support groups. Please keep in mind that the views contained under the incident support groups folder will change depending on the teams you are a member of. These views are intended for a team level. You will be able to see all incidents that have been assigned to your team, and you will also be able to see whether or not someone on your team has accepted responsibility for a particular incident. You will notice the assigned to column in the middle pane of your screen. If you do not see a name in the assigned to column, this means that no one has accepted responsibility for this incident. Our next view is incidents with service level breach. This view is intended to show you all incidents in SCSM that have breached their SLA, Service Level Agreement. Our next view is incidents with service level warning. The purpose of this view is to show you all incidents that are within 80% of their SLA, Service Level Agreement. Our next view is My Incident Ownership. This view will show you all incidents where you have populated yourself as the primary owner. Our next category is regional views. The purpose of this view is to show you all incidents assigned to a region. For example, ITG Support Services South Central will show you all incidents that have been assigned to Central IT Support, Florida IT Support, South Atlantic IT Support, South Central Gulf IT Support. The next category we come to is My Work Items. If we expand My Work Items, you will notice two separate views, one for incident, one for My Service Request. These views will show you all incidents that you have populated yourself as the assigned to individual. The following steps may be performed in any of the views that we just went over. The following steps will help you customize your view around the way that you do business. Select the appropriate view that you would like to customize. In the middle window, you may drag the columns left or right to reorder them according to what is important to you. You may also hide or disable any of the available columns if you do not believe they pertain to the way that you do business. In order to hide these columns, you simply right-click the column header and then select the column that you would no longer like displayed. I will be hiding the ID column. You will now notice that the ID column is no longer present in this view. If at a later date you decide that you need that column back, you may once again right-click the column header and select or enable the hidden column. You have two additional ways to customize your views based upon how you do business. These include Sort By. Sort By will allow you to sort your incidents by one of the columns. For example, I like to sort all of my incidents by ID. This way I can see all incidents in this view and the order in which they came into the system. Our last available option to customize our views is Group By. Once again, right-click your column header and select Group By. You will notice the Group By categories are very similar to what you find in Outlook. You may group your incidents by any column that is available in your view. For example, in my team views, I like to group my incidents by assigned to. This way I can see all incidents in a team view that are assigned to me, and it also helps me easily identify any incidents where nobody has accepted responsibility. Next, I will demonstrate how to effectively transfer an incident record to another team. Go to the corresponding view where the incident resides and open the corresponding incident. On the right-hand side of your screen, under Task, you have a button labeled Escalate or Transfer. Select this button. Select the appropriate support team that you will be transferring your incident to via the drop-down menu. Once again, fill in the comments and be as descriptive as possible. This is for everyone's benefit who is involved. This informs the receiving team exactly why you are transferring this incident to them. So please, be as descriptive as possible. Once you have made all necessary changes, select OK. You will now notice that the support group has changed to the previously selected support group, and the Assigned To field is now blank. This is where primary owner becomes very important. If you do not populate your name as primary owner, you will have no way to find this incident without having to perform a search. Once you have made all necessary changes, select OK to save and close your incident. You will now notice that that incident is no longer in my view, and it has been assigned to the appropriate team. Thank you very much for your time. I will now hand things over to Richard Copeland for service request fulfillment.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Jamin. And thank you, Michelle, for muting your computer. Service request fulfillment. Basically going to go over the same views that Jamin spoke about already, with incident being request, so similarly tied together when it comes to views. So you expand service request fulfillment, and below there you're going to first have all open unassigned service requests. When you select this, you're going to see any service requests submitted by anybody throughout HDR and ITG that are currently open and unassigned, meaning that somebody does not currently take ownership of it and is not working on it. So currently, right now, I have them sorted by status of closed, status completed, and I did that just by coming up here on the top, right-clicking, and doing group by status. Another thing that you can actually do is change to none, and you just see the entire list. But being on the help desk and working with different groups, I found that sorting by ones that are actually opened or ones that are assigned, it's easier to find out what still currently needs to be worked. So for example, if I'm part of the South Atlantic IT support team, and in this case for today's example I am, I can come down and click on my view, and I can see that currently there's one that's unassigned, and Nancy's currently working on 11, so I know this one's available for me to actually work on. I can see that Jamin was the affected user, but I can see that it's been out there since the 11th, and nobody's taken it, so somebody needs to work on it. So it's just something I can simply come in, click on, and assign to me. So that way people know that I'm actually working on it. In another case, I'm part of the application packagers team as well. And I also have these sorted by what the status is. Again, I'm looking for things that are open or submitted that currently don't have assignments. Again, if I want to change the view, I just simply need to right-click and it can change what it's grouped by, either by priority, high, medium, low. It can even change the way they're sorted. Then I also have the ITG Support Services South Central view. This is going to give me a view of everybody that's in the South Central team and what they're working on. Again, I have them sorted by status. So I can expand completed, minimize completed. I can take a look in status, see what's assigned and what's not. And this really comes in to be beneficial when you're working on large teams, much like the South Central group is, when you're helping with other offices trying to figure out what is available and what's not. One of the biggest things that we've come across so far is the assign to. A lot of things are being worked on, and there's not actually an assign to person. So let's actually go ahead and take a look at that real quick. So simply click on Create Service Request. And for right now, I'm just going to choose Account, Add to a Group. And I'll just put myself in here. And obviously in the description you'd want to have more information than live, but just for today's example, with service requests it's a little bit different because you're going to find some templates where the support group is empty. And it's done this way because if the field is not populated, it's either something that can be handled locally or something that should at first be attempted locally and then submitted to the help desk. So if you come into a request and you see the support group is blank, much like this one is, it's something that you should be able to at least troubleshoot, attempt to resolve on your own. If not, the support group you're going to want to send it to is the help desk. We've had a couple instances where people go through here and try to pick the team that they think it's going to go to for second level, and unfortunately it hasn't been correct. Granted, sometimes it has been, but unfortunately in other times it hasn't, and it's caused a couple of problems with things not getting done in a timely manner, or things just unfortunately not getting resolved the way they should have. So if you come in here and the support group is blank, so for today's example I'm part of South Atlantic IT. If I'm going to work on this one, first thing I want to do is assign it to my local team so I know I'm working on it. And I'd also do assign to me. If it's an issue where, or if it's a request where I actually need to escalate this to, say, the Active Directory team to get their help, the first thing I need to do, being in the local office, is I actually need to submit this to the help desk. So I would come in here, underneath support group, select the help desk, and I would remove the assign to, and I would hit OK. Now one of the questions that we've had with that is, well, I can no longer see it. It's been submitted to the help desk. I don't have a help desk view. I have South Atlantic. I'm part of the application packagers as well, part of South Central, but I'm not seeing where that request went. How am I supposed to follow up on it? Well, that's why we have the created by me view. This is where one that really comes in handy. So we did training yesterday for some of the overseas folks and just did some test examples. And you can see ones that I created and ones that I assigned to me and ones that were assigned to Matt Halligan and the application packagers team. But you can also see the one that I actually just did. This is the way that we actually got around trying to find ones that have been created by me, which for today's example I'm logged in as SCSM user 1. So I can still follow up on these and find out where they are in the process. So that if it's an issue where it goes to the help desk like this, I can then see where the help desk is sent it to and find out what the status of it is and keep an eye on it so I can actually check back with the affected user to make sure it's resolved and just to give them status updates every day. In some, though, let me show you a new example. We create service request. let's say I want to modify DNS. This support group is pre-populated. I know by default where this actually needs to go. We've spoken with the other teams. We know that DNS modifications have to go to the messaging directory team. That's where every request for DNS is going to go, or at least start with. There might be some occasions where they need to reroute it somewhere else, but by default, that's where 95% of these requests are going to go. So we've had some problems where people actually have gone in here and changed this as well. If the team is pre-populated, we're going to need to leave it where it's at because that, like I said, is the team that's going to be working on it. It's going to be up to the messaging directory team to actually change it if they need to send it to somebody else for help. And the assigned to, again, is going to be blank. And if I were to submit this again, I'd be able to find it based off that created by me view. So again, if a support group is blank, you want to send it to the help desk because we're going to be the ones that are actually passing it on to the second level support based off what that request is. If it's pre-populated, leave it where it's at so we can get to the appropriate team. And again, if you want to follow up on any one of them that you've actually submitted, you just come under created by me. The other thing that we've come across is a lot of people are not able to find some requests that they're looking for. Let's say maybe it's you want to reserve a video conferencing room. That's one that just recently came up. If it's an example like that, let Jamin and myself know that maybe something's not on here or you might want to change using that request form on the resource page, because although there are about 85 examples in here of requests and where they can actually go, we couldn't get everything. When we actually broke it down, we had a list of about 230, but it was just a little bit more than what it needed to be, and we were just having people pick too many different options. So we tried to narrow it down to about 80, trying to get best case scenario. So if there is an example to where you just absolutely cannot find what you're looking for, try to pick the best that is most related. So for a service or for a resource calendar, it's an account. Just make it work for the time being. And then go ahead and go to that resource page and submit a new request of what you'd like it to be so we can actually talk about it and discuss it. Otherwise, what we're going to do now is just open up to questions to talk about it, talk about the views for incident, talk about views for requests, correct assignment, and how things need to flow. So let's go ahead and open up for some questions.
If you have questions, you can certainly type them in and we can see those questions, and we will go ahead and repeat those and answer them. Or you may go ahead and ask them now. Just a second, I will open up all the lines. I apologize. At the moment, I am unable to unmute everyone's mic and speakers. So if you do have a question, please type it in, and we'd be more than happy to answer that. There's some questions. Let's see what we got here. Okay, let me see. We got some questions. Looks like there we go. Okay. Let's see. From David Waite. Let's see. Is there a way to make the default assigned to sections to be our own names and regions? I'll unmute you. Go ahead.
So David, you're wondering about the default assigned to sections. Excuse me. So the assigned to, the way it's actually set up is, by default, you don't have anything actually grouped. It's set to none, and sort by It's just whatever you set it to last. We actually don't have any of these defaulted. Just by the way the system works, you can't go in and say set everything sort by title for everyone in the system. It all comes ungrouped and unsorted, and then based off of how you like to have things, you can change your view. Same for incident management. Whenever you go underneath like my work items, my incidents, which I don't have any because I'm in my test account, the way things are sorted, again, it's just default out of the box. We can't actually make it to where everything comes up as assigned to first.
Okay. The next question, if we have an incident, there we go. It looks like the next question, if we have an incident created by me that gets reassigned to another team, is there no created by me or instance to find all those I have created? Yes.
That's a very good question. And let me share my screen so everybody can see. So the created by me incident actually becomes a little bit tricky there. That's why we created the my incident ownership, and that's why whenever you are transferring an incident to another team, it is imperative that you populate the primary owner field, because that's how you're actually going to be able to find your incidents without having to search for them.
Thank you, Jamin. See our next question. Just a second. So we have another one going there. There we go. Now I make the room a little better. Okay, the next one from Candace. If you save a request or incident but mean to assign to the local support, but then it routes to the support center, is there a way to reroute it without it still being sent to the help desk? Rich, I'm going to Thank you. We have one from Derek Williams. Are there any plans to lock down the primary owner? Jamin, I'm going to give that one to you.
Yes, ma'am. Most everybody missed Richard's explanation because we did not have audio on our side. So, are there any plans to lock down the primary owner field? I'm not sure I understand the question, as in, do we plan on locking it down so that you cannot change that? No, not necessarily, because for an example, if I transfer an incident to the help desk then reviews that incident and identifies that it needs to go to a second level team, then therefore that primary owner field would be changing. So we do not have any intention of locking down the primary owner field so that people will not be able to change it. Just because of the way that we do business, then it makes it very difficult to lock down the primary owner field. Thank you for your question, Derek.
Thank you. I didn't realize we had lost audio on Rich's. Candace, we will come back to yours shortly and get that fixed. Sorry about that. We didn't. And Jamin, thank you for saying that we lost audio. The next one is we'll come back to Candace's for sure. Let's see here. From Adam Mazisco, is there a created by me view for incidents or only for service requests? I'm going to try this on Rich's audio. Let's see if we have this going there.
Okay, hopefully everybody can hear me now. Sorry about that. Adam, to answer your question, currently we only have the view of my incident ownership. The way it's working right now is we're asking people to go in and set yourself as the primary owner of an incident. And that's actually how you'll go back and find incidents that you've opened, versus requests that actually don't have that primary owner field. And that's why we created the created by me view. Just the way requests were actually built within the system, it doesn't have that primary owner field in there the same as incident does. That's why we have my incident ownership and created by me for service request. It could even be something to where we go in and change created by me and reword it to where it says my request ownership. Really just comes down to who it was created by. So we need people to be populating that primary owner field for incident for whoever created it. And then for service requests, it's just done by default. Is that something that we could look into, though, of having a field or having that view for incident? Yeah, it's definitely something we could look into. But then the fear is that people aren't going to be using that primary owner field like they should be. We need that primary owner field so we know who the actual customer has been working with and who to get a hold of if we have any questions.
Rich, would you go back to Candace's question? If you saved a request incident but mean to assign to local support, they all will study up.
Okay, Candace, back to your question, and sorry about that. And Jamin, will you set me as the presenter, please? There we go. So back to how do I find something that I've accidentally assigned to the help desk that I actually need to go back to local support. What I need to do is just come underneath created by me for request. And again, we still have my testing ticket out here. And I'll pull it up for example. And I'm sure the help desk is going to love me for this one, but we'll do it anyway. It's going to be good work for them. So I'm going to send this over to the help desk. I'm going to assign it to them. So right now the help desk is getting a notification that this service request is out there waiting for them. So again, the example of I didn't mean to get to the help desk. I actually needed my local system administrator to do it. All I need to do is come back into the Created by Me view. I can come back in and find my request. Just double click on it to open it up. And I can actually assign it to the support group that it needs to go to. So for this example, I'm part of South Central, South Atlantic IT, and then I can just save it. So that's how I would actually get to back into my team's view. As for incidents, what I would want to do is come underneath My Incident Ownership. And I'll look for anything that I've created that I'm the owner of. And here I found my test ticket for incident. So I would come in, and let's say I have this to the help desk. They're going to get a notification, but that's okay. They're used to it from me by now. So right now it's at the support group for incident, or at the help desk. All I need to do is come in, change to local office, South Central, South Atlantic IT, and I could save it, and then it's back with the local support team for them to actually work on. So that's how you'd go back in to find something that you've created and assigned inappropriately or accidentally, whatever the case may be. Like I said before, which you didn't hear, always feel free to send the help desk an email saying, hey, I accidentally assigned this to you, just go ahead and ignore it. We're more than happy. We understand what that's like. We also do it. We'll occasionally get things to the wrong group. It happens.